Good morning, children. It's Urmi here. Well, I've decided to take up the poem Fable, written by Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American poet, essayist, and lecturer. So let's first discuss why he has titled the poem Fable. Basically, we all know what a fable is. It is a small story where the characters are but animals, and often fable has moral. Here the poem envelopes not to judge others, but try to evaluate as per inbuilt potent, for everyone deserves more or less. That is to say that the Supreme Creator has created us with a purpose and reason, and we all are here to serve our own purpose. So there is nothing to consider ourselves as superior or inferior. Well, now we'll begin by reading out the poem stanza by stanza, and I'll of course provide you with the explanation after reading out the first stanza. The mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel, and the former called the latter little prig. So, the mountain, in the very opening lines, we find that the mountain and the squirrel, they have a quarrel. Why? Because the mountain is proud. And what is it proud of? It is proud of its towering bigness, and it feels that the squirrel is insignificant. Thereby, it calls the squirrel a little prig. Now, what does the word prig mean? It means fop, or we can say that one who puts up an appearance of being morally correct. The squirrel then gives the reply. Let's read out the next stanza. Bun replied, "You are doubtless very big, but all sorts of things and weather must be taken in together to make up a year and a sphere." Bun replied. Now, who is the Bun here? Bun is the name of the squirrel. And she replies that the mountain is huge indeed. But be it a bad or a good one, everything possesses its own characteristics. Hence, a natural calamity or the beauty of nature, this both sums up to make a year. So here we find the very essence of individualism, because all types of things means that big and small and all types of weather conditions like rain, spring, fall, winter, etc. must be considered to form a year and to completely shape the earth. And I think it no disgrace to occupy my place. If I am not so large as you, you are not so small as I, and not half so spiry. Here we find that Bun is not disgraced to assert its place in nature, because no matter how tiny it may be, it has its purpose in this world, none greater or less than another. It thoroughly enjoys its life, but the mountain, in spite of being mammoth in size, is immobile, whereas the tiny squirrel is agile and it can move about freely. So the word spiry means agile, flexible, lively, etc. So we find here that the mountain is being mocked by whom? By a tiny creature like the squirrel. The mountain is static, it is immobile, whereas the squirrel, a tiny creature, it can move about freely. It doesn't have to remain in one place like the mountain. And thus it mocks him because of his illogical thought of superiority. And I'll not deny you make a very pretty squirrel track. At the same time, the squirrel admits that the mountain is a passage for the squirrel. In the last stanza, we find a reference to the Creator or the Almighty. Talents differ. All is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut. Crack a nut means break a nut. Talents differ. Now this is very important. So it says that talent on a particular subject possessed by a person may not be similar to the talent possessed by another one. For in this world, everyone or everything is well arranged and properly balanced. Each person has his or her own individual talents, and everyone or everything has its purpose in this world, none greater or less than another. Just mark one thing, all is well and wisely put. This phrase here, it means that in this world everything is well arranged and properly balanced. Well, the squirrel then goes on to say that if I cannot carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut. So, such as mountain deserves a forest on its back, but it does not have the skill to crack a nut, as of a squirrel's talent. I would like you to note this factor, that the caching behavior of seeds by squirrels is very important for the renewal of many trees. Thus, in spite of being tiny, it plays a significant role in the ecosystem. Therefore, we may conclude that the squirrel justifies its existence aptly. In the last stanza, we also find a reference to the Almighty. It says that God created this universe in a very orderly way after a good deal of thinking. So none is superior or inferior. Thereby, none should be considered as weak or useless. Everyone has something better than everyone. If the squirrel is not able to grow as big as the mountain is not able to grow as small as the squirrel. This means that some of our limitations are good for us because in the grand design of the Supreme Creator, each talent is significantly placed with adequate importance. So this was the explanation of the poem. Now I know we need to discuss the question and answers, which I'll definitely take up in the next class. Bye.